Hey, Judy. Hey, Kent.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, good morning for you, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. How are you doing? Good.
Totally great, sir.
Judy?
Never been better.
Okay. All right on. So we are today answering this question from a student. And this person asked, the original question was in Japanese, and there's an English translation for it. So it says, I've been mainly taking PP classes, that's phonics and pronunciation classes. Is it better to take lessons with a certain teacher so that he or she can know my weak points and observe my progress for a certain period of time? Or is it better to take lessons with various teachers? Could you give me some advice? Okay, let's start. So what do you guys think? Who wants to go first?
Well, sorry
Can
about
I
that
go
one.
first?
Yes, please.
All right. As for me, it boils down to the level of the student. So if the student is still a beginner student, I would highly suggest you stick to the same teacher so that, as a student, you can get used to the pacing, to how the teacher corrects your lapses and everything, and also to the overall approach. And then once you can build your skill, your pronunciation skill, you can try switching up to another teacher just to, experience a variety of approaches and how other teachers speak also, and the tips and advices they can give to you.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, you can.
Main point is just to stick with the teacher for quite some time. Now, if you are still starting, it's best to try different teachers first, just to see where you're comfortable or who you're comfortable with.
I see.
But if it's a skill building, it would be best to stay for quite some time, and then as you progress or as your skills becomes better, it's best to try to get other teachers once in a while to see or get other perspective as well.
That makes sense. I've been taking this Chinese online lessons for quite some time now, once a week. And actually I'm doing exactly that. I'm sticking to the same teacher. And I switched up recently because my favorite one is no longer available in the hours that I can take lessons. Anyway, because I stuck with the same teacher, she knew exactly where I am. So every time I made errors or made progress, she was quickly able to notice and maybe praise me at times, or just make corrections right there and then, and tell me that this is the third time I'm making the same mistake. I'm like, whoops. So she knew exactly where I am at every lesson, and then that gave me discomfort. But when you switch up to a new teacher, it's you have this anxiety. It's oh my God, what's going to happen? But what I realize is that you get exposed to a completely different pacing, different input, different tone of voice, and all that, right? So I was so used to the way the previous teacher spoke. But this new teacher is oh, that's quite different from the first one. And so I'm glad I switched up the teacher. So that makes sense. So I have a question. So Ken, you suggested that you switch up teacher initially. So is that to find your favorite or someone you feel comfortable with, or what's the reason for that?
More on the compatibility of the student and teacher, because let's say if you just look for the one the person that you like or your favorite, like you're gonna stay with that teacher for quite some time. And then like, if we just say, if it's just that you like or it's your favorite, I think that wouldn't be enough to survive the class, because like that's PP. That's a lot of stress, physical and mental, because you'll be pronouncing those weak sounds that you have. So that's a tough one. So go for the one that you're compatible with, like you're comfortable with it.
So you want one that you feel comfortable with.
Yes, yes.
So you don't get anxiety attacks while you're taking
yes.
All right, Judy. So you told me that to switch up like teachers as you make progress. At what point would you say, okay, it's time for me to switch up the teachers? When would that be?
Well, maybe one thing is the number of classes you've had with the teacher already, but when it comes to like the skills that you've built up, I guess that would be once you have already somehow minimized your weak sounds to the fullest.
I see.
Like that, let's say, for example, your weak sound is like L, and then you've got approximately, let's say, 10 mistakes every time you have a class, and then it became 8 to 5 to 4. And then once you reach that point, that's somehow the time that you can try other teachers, switch up to other teachers.
I see. From teacher's perspective, like when you have the same exact student over and over and over, what's the plus and what's the minus?
Well,
let's say I'm your student. Yeah, I am again. Like, Jesus, am I having Hiroshi again? Like, what would you say are the pros and what are the minuses from your perspective, that is?
From mine, the pros, the pros would be like, I could really oversee my students' progress. Like, I have this one student who, like, he keeps on coming back to me like I'm his one and only PP teacher. So yeah, I can say, I mean, as I've mentioned, I can oversee his progress and I can really point out when he is actually developing his skill and when he is falling back. So I can like, point that out. And also I could like feel happy when I can sense some progress in him. But somehow the cons maybe is that maybe I get to used to how he or she sounds. So maybe I would somehow at one point fail to point out his like mistake or mispronunciation in some case. So yeah, I guess that would be it.
You know, I can relate to that. So I used to be on this homestay program when I first went to live in the United States, something like 40 years ago. Anyway, so I was there for 1 year, and my host family was able to understand whatever I was speaking because they were so used to my pronunciation, however broken that might have been at the time. But outside of that family, nobody understood me. And so it was pretty pathetic. And eventually I made friends and they understood me for the most part. But when I spoke to somebody new, this person just wouldn't get me at all, like zero. So my friend would have to act as an interpreter, even though we are all speaking English. Somehow he would understand what I'm saying and he would say that to, cashier or whomever. It's pretty embarrassing. So yes, speaking to the same exact person over and over definitely has its cons. Yeah, I would say. All right, Ken, do you have anything to add?
For the pros, I would say communication is very efficient. So it's pretty clear. The student can easily understand you, and then that's vice versa as well. Okay. Same thing goes with for cons. I think it's the same thing with what teacher Judy just mentioned. teachers get too saturated with the students' pronunciation that there are times that they cannot really pinpoint if it's correct or not.
I see.
Yeah.
So it is a good idea to go off to take lessons with different teachers once in a while, and then come back to you maybe. And then so you can, like, that can somehow reset your, like, what do you call it, your sensor. And then you can better point out mistakes or notice improvements.
For me, for the total language learning, not only pronunciation, it's best to experience other teachers, because it's not only pronunciation. You'll be like improving listening as well, your comprehension, sentence building, and so on.
Yeah, that too. Like, I was able to understand what my host family were saying, but whenever I was speaking to someone that I didn't know, I was like, huh? It was pretty embarrassing. Okay, so I guess to wrap this up, so number one, try different teachers until you find someone that you feel comfortable with. Okay, then number two, stick to that same teacher, especially if you're a beginner, until you reach the sound level. Okay, then number three, switch up and try different teachers. So your teacher won't be saturated and you'll be exposed to different ways of teaching, or you'll be exposed to different pacing or a different type of voice and so on and so forth. Something like that. Is there anything to be added here?
Oh, good, sir.
Oh,
How about
good.
you, Judy? All good?
Yeah, nothing from me anymore.
Yay. So I guess we answered this question. I hope this person likes the answer then.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. And
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to end this video now. Hold on. All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.